Finally, the moment a couple of you have been waiting for.
It's all like bing bong, Jack.
Coming to you from an undisclosed location in Duval and St. Johns County. The show for Jag fans by Jag fans.
You can't have a newcomer come in and steal the show.
Here are your hosts, Franklin and Michael how you say it? DeZoba. Welcome to the Jaggernaut Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, kids of all ages, can I get a dude? Nice manly one, because the boys, they showed up this week, showed up to Duval County. TIAA, TIAA, always get that confused and wrong. But anyway, the Colts came in here 1 o'clock this past Sunday, and man, them Jags rode those boys right on out the state.
What is it about the Colts, man?
Don't come back. Lord,
Weird,
I don't know. I wish we had a few other teams that we played like that.
Yeah.
We may not have Trevor Lawrence and we may not have some other top 10 talent, but at least we would feel better about our franchise.
Yep. So yeah, let's discuss where you want to begin. First of all, we need to let's get this house cleaning out of the way. We did not get a video out for the Commanders game. We had
that is not true.
Difficulties. Hey,
we have a video somewhere.
Nobody saw a video but me and you. We had some technical difficulties, and we are efforting to try to
resolve those. Yes, to resolve those.
Neither one of us are technologically savvy, so we are trying to step into being a little bit more professional. So trying to get
bear with us.
We're going to try to
part in our progress, right? But anyway, let's get back to a hell of a game. Dude, it was a shutout. That's a hell, man. Jonathan Taylor, #1 rusher in the NFL. Didn't look like it on Sunday.
Well, and here's the thing too, this goes back to what we said when we were talking about the team. On paper, this team looks like on the defensive line, a really good defensive line that at the bare minimum has the beef to stop the run. Now, we didn't see that per se against the Commanders. I was disappointed. I heard from the coaches talking today, miss assignment, run fits. We heard that all last year, so I don't want to hear that sort of talk. But it's easier to digest when you have the Colts game as well to sort of give you a bigger picture, as much as big of a picture as you can get out of two games. But you definitely did see a tale of two different defenses. In the Commanders game, we made Carson Wentz look like Johnny Unitas, Peyton Manning, or whatever era you choose to want to use. What is that? Over 300 yards, 4 touchdowns?
I think it was 3 touchdowns.
3 touchdowns. I don't know. Once it gets up to there, it's like it was more than our guy.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
So, but our guy looked really good this week. My friend, that's what you call a segue in the business. Already getting professional.
Yes, let me take that from here. So last week after the game, people were asking, is Trevor Lawrence a good quarterback? Can he be a good quarterback? You know that the deal is everybody generational. I know how you feel about that, tag. I still believe in him. I think he came out, and I think with the help of the receivers, which we didn't have last year, the help of Doug Peterson and the design of the offensive plays, which we didn't have last year, and his own natural abilities, Trevor Lawrence will be one hell of a decent to damn good QB in this league. He can be a winning QB. So I have no problems with that. So if you don't believe after watching that game that Trevor Lawrence can be our long-term answer at quarterback, I don't know what you're looking at. I don't know what you're watching.
Can be is different than will be.
Well, we never know. A catastrophic
And
injury.
that's the point. Nobody knows.
So,
but your point is this: what we saw on display was what made him, and the generational stuff. Here's the deal: he could flop. It does not matter. He will have always been a generational prospect. That will never change because it's all about what he looked like at the time of the draft. That's all that ever was.
Right, but people equate that
to translate to.
Right, people equate that to the best quarterback to ever see the field in the NFL, and that is not the case. But hey, however you want to view it, it's how you view it.
And it is not unrealistic to say, hey, this guy got drafted by the Jacksonville Jaguars, for Pete's sake. That is something to overcome. The idea that and Urban Meyer, I mean, this idea, like, people go, oh, you can't give a mulligan. Like, no, oh, hell yeah, I can give a mulligan. That is mulligan worthy. Not only is it the Jaguars, and it's Urban and those receivers that they had last year. Now, this year, don't want to dwell on that, but this year, Christian Kirk running the designs that they were running, the motions. Remember, I was telling you, I wanted to see motions. They had the motions getting
Christian Kirk earning his money so far.
Yeah,
earning his money. And I hope you got him in fantasy, because you could have got him in like the 7th round, like this guy.
I wanted him too. You got him right. I was getting snookered by a lot of stuff in the later rounds of fantasy. I can tell you.
He was anyway. He's the only receiver I got that's paying off at the moment.
Yeah. Well, I took Amon-Ra St. Brown. So
that dude's balling.
Yeah. So he's my one good player.
But back to the Jags. So again, another thing came out after this, and so last week was Trevor Lawrence, right? And the fault, I don't believe, went on Trevor Lawrence. Could he have played better last week? Sure, he could have. I mean, against the Commanders. Yeah. But it's your defense, right? You go into the fourth quarter with the lead. If you give up a lead, not once but twice, that's on the defense. That is not on Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
So the defense last week against the Commanders lost us that game. This week, it was a combined solid effort from all three phases to pitch a shutout. Okay.
Yeah.
But one part of the offense, and me and you went at this just a little while ago, is the run game. And people are saying the run game sucks. Okay. Well, the run game lacks explosion. But do you need explosion in the run game?
No, you don't need explosion, but you need productivity. And what we saw last week was the opposite of productivity.
So you don't believe that 4.19 yards a carry?
That's not what we had last week.
I'm telling you, over the last 2 games, that is what we're averaging. It's 4 yards a carry.
I don't know, man. I have to see the numbers on that. I know that what we came out of last week's game with was somewhere slightly over 2 yards per carry. That included the big run by James Robinson. I'm telling you, if you look at the offensive line, and the talk is legit because people watch the tape, and here's what they're saying. Fortner had a very bad game. He's had 2 bad games now. Now, he's a rookie. Let's hope he gets everything going. But the line got no push. And I know I'm not going to bag on the line because they kept Trevor upright. Mm-hmm. There was no sacks. But you can look at, and it's reasonable now. It's reasonable to say, look, as positive as the one aspect of the line, the offensive line was, we have to call it like we see it. That running game by the offensive, it was not the running backs. I didn't see any running back taking wrong angles. They literally could not get going. I don't know if you saw. I'm for sure you did. The Bills against the Titans. That wasn't Derrick Henry. That was the Bills against the Titans offensive line. Henry never got going. He never got out of the backfield. Robinson dealt with that. And ETN all day long. ETN less so because the designs were typically to the outside. But the Colts front seven, for as bad as the Colts were, they beat our offensive line in regards to the run game. They just did. And the reason we won that game was defense, turnovers, and the efficiency of Trevor Lawrence in the passing game, and the offensive play calling, which mitigated.
So if I told you it was 3.8 yards per carry, that was the average
last week. I'm not buying it.
There was 130. There's 130 yards for the game. Okay. ETN had 64. Robinson had 66. There was 34 carries. That's not including Trevor. I think Trevor had 2 or 3 carries. So I didn't include Trevor. If we include Trevor, it's better. 3.8 yards per carry. That is their average. That ain't bad. Like I said, it's not flashy. It's not breaking stuff. It's 3 yards here. It's 4 yards here. It's 5 yards here. It's a 30-yarder here.
We can agree to disagree. We don't. There are reasons people agree with me on
now, yeah, and I'll agree. The offensive line isn't getting a ton of push in the running game. I agree. However, every now and again, like that 36-yarder, it works.
Okay, so we dealt with last week a little bit of, and the week before, basically. Now we got to deal with the Chargers. I'll tell you one thing right off the bat. I am a little more confident. Now, I'm not saying we're going to win, but we seem like a professional football team now. Like, I think we actually may have a professional football team on our hands. That's a big deal to me. Like, I know I'm still at the point. I know Jaguar fans are like, oh, the world is ending after the Commanders game, and now they think we're gonna
go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, we're going to the playoffs, and I think that's not. I mean, that's also thinking the AFC South is really bad right now too. So I can kind of understand that thinking a little bit. But the point being is this: reasonably speaking, we've got a team that could compete. At times, it appears. How do you think they're going to do in LA?
I think they're going to lose. I think they're going to lose. I forgot, what was the line? Was it 7?
6.5.
6.5. Yeah. So, and for that, I wouldn't take the Jaguars. I can see this game. I can see this game where
I think Vegas knows what they're doing.
I think anywhere from 3 points to 14 points is where we lose by.
I mean, that's most games, though.
I mean, yeah, it's large. It's large, but what do you want me to say? I mean, I think we lose. Well, the thing is, I still want us to show up, and I still want us to put a hurting on. We don't have to win, but I want to look like we're a professional team. Yeah, so that's all I'm asking for here. I'm not asking for a lot. I'm not asking for a win.
Okay, so let's get into some specificity, because I agree with you. I think what we will probably end up doing is coming back and going, man, we almost had that one. You know, that's my guess is the way it's going to feel at the end of the game.
Right, it's going to be a lot of moral victories.
Yeah, there'll be something that'll happen. Be like, if that one thing hadn't happened, you know, but that's football, you know. So I'm curious. Taylor's a different back than Eckler. Eckler's a bit more of a scat back. You know, their weapons. I think Keenan is playing. Herbert, I'm pretty sure he's going to play. One thing I heard,
Mike Williams.
What's that?
Mike Williams.
Well, but he was never in doubt. So, you know, it was going to be Mike Williams.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. I see what you were doing. You were doing there. Sorry, I was a bit slow.
That's a good point. He's got to be mentioned, you know, along with Mike Williams is the way I should have said it. But so they've got weapons. It's going to be a good test against the secondary. I will say this. They don't seem like speedsters to me. So it's going to be one of these scenarios where Herbert is going to have to he's going to have to make some good throws, I think, at least against Campbell. I'm hoping Shaq plays well. He can be hit or miss, you know.
Very hit or miss, yeah.
Darius Williams.
I've seen plays where I'm like, what the hell are you doing? And then I've seen other plays where it's like, in that Colts game, he fell into luck. Like he sort of had position, but then he didn't even know where the ball was.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that can happen to anybody, I think. But so anyway, I mean, I think it's going to be all about stopping Herbert. It'll be interesting to see if we can still can we get the pressure that we saw on Matt Ryan on Justin Herbert?
If we do have a chance of slowing them down. I'm not sure we have a chance to stop them. And the reason why is because I think they can do to us exactly what Washington did. That short range, quick passes, get it out of the QB's hands. And they have Austin Eckler. You brought him up out of the backfield. Very quick, twitchy kind of guy. If he gets the ball and gets rolling, what is it? 6, 7, 8 yards before somebody can bring him down.
Well, it'll be a good test for Devin Lloyd. So that'll be
that is true. And he now I was against Devin Lloyd starting.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, well, dude played damn well against the Colts. I am rescinding that. Let Devin Lloyd start. To me, he's earned his time, I guess, at this point. So go on, Devin, kick some ass.
Yeah, it's hard to say anything negative about the defense. They just seem so
well. But I think the Colts, not the Colts. I think the Chargers can target our linebackers and our safeties, and I think sometimes both can be very skeptical.
Yeah. The safeties, to me, and I don't know if this is a fair way to, if this is reasonable or not, and it could just be because it feels like we've put more focus on the linebackers, but I feel more confident in the linebackers than I do the safeties at this point. I know Jenkins had a really good game. Cisco made a play in that game that was good. But it's still hard to get that Commanders game out of your mouth when the safeties really didn't seem to play it.
Yeah, nor should we, because the truth of the matter is the Jags are probably somewhere in between those two games.
That's the good point right there. Yeah, they've got to be, because I mean that's the only reasonable expectation. Which honestly though, we should have beat the Commanders. So if what you're saying is we're somewhere between a domination and should have won, that's a pretty good football team. So that's at least 8-8.
But I disagree a little bit. Why should we have won that? We gave up 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Our defense folded, man. Didn't even show up that whole last quarter.
No. I'm okay. So I'm not saying. Okay, fair point. I'm not saying we should have won that. I did say that, but I guess what I mean to say is you can see how it's reasonable to expect that it was either team's game. If Carson didn't lead those 2 drives, which was unexpected based on the way that middle portion of that game went. Because as bad as the defense feels now, there was a period of time where they shut the Commanders down. Midway the second quarter, all of the third quarter, I feel like it was like the first quarter and the fourth quarter were theirs, which is enough to win the game. But that's what I'm saying. It was such an even match, and it's away. It's the first game of the season too. That's the other thing. So I think we should temper it. A young team for away game, first game of the season. There is going to be some jitters or whatever you want to call that, and we don't know how much of that is at play, and so it could be that we're a much better team than what we saw, or the team that made those mistakes in Washington, and we're obviously not the team that beats other teams 24-0. You have to have things go your way there. To your point, we're somewhere in the middle. The point is, I think that means we're a good team.
It is possible. But remember, brother, we have been on this roller coaster ride before. In fact, for almost the last 23 years now, we've been on this roller coaster ride, right? So all I'm telling you is just dial it back and enjoy the game. Right now, we're number one in our division. Sweet. Woo! Take it, enjoy it. But don't get too high. Don't get too high, don't get too low. Just go and enjoy it. Hopefully we come out of this unhurt, without the I words. We put up a damn good effort.
I keep coming back to not wanting to be the jaded Jag fan. But I also want to not be overly biased Homer guy either. So
right.
I'm trying to say, well, what do the facts show? Oh, yeah, and that's where it is. But your point's a good one. We've been down this road. Never forget that.
Yeah. But here are some points, right? The Chargers are a better team than we are. Based off of last year.
Yeah. No question.
And their 2 games, I'm going to say they're a better team than we are. We don't win on the West Coast.
Right.
You can say whatever you want to. We don't win on the West Coast.
Right.
They've had 9 days to prepare for us. Their coaches got to sit around and watch our game and see what we did. That's different. To me, just those 3 factors are enough to tell me that the Chargers should win this game. If an NFL team shows up, it's not going to be an easy win, but they should win it. If an NFL team shows up and we can get some stuff to fall our way, we might take one.
I think the reasonable expectation is to have a hope in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, I'll take that. And that's something good. And remember, we're playing on the West Coast, so it is a 4:25 game this weekend. So that means late drinking.
And
sorry, work.
The one thing I would add to that is the one optimistic thing is we are coming off. We should be relatively confident, and we are healthy.
Yes, we are.
The Chargers are not exactly super healthy. They are getting a little bit better. Mitchell Keenan Allen's coming back, but is he going to be 100%? Justin Herbert's dealing with
his rib injury.
Mm-hmm. And so that plays to our advantage. Now, is that enough to overcome the fact that we're the Jacksonville Jaguars and that we're out west? That remains to be seen, but that's the soap opera of the NFL. That's why people tune into it. And we'll get to watch and see what happens, and then we'll get to talk about what we saw.
All right. Well, Frank, we covered it. Let's hope we can get this video out. That way all 7 of our subscribers can have some content this week. We didn't leave you out last week. It was just
I bet they
didn't happen. I think so. I haven't heard from anybody, but thank you. I appreciate it. But look, because Lord knows if we don't put out content, man, they're lighting my phone up.
Not mine.
Oh, well, maybe all 7 of them are my friends. I think that's what it is.
I got a killer question for you before we end it.
All right.
Are you playing Justin Herbert?
I am. You want to hear something else that's going to really suck?
What?
I'm playing the Chargers defense too.
Are you really?
Yep. I learned a long time ago, man. If you have people and they're playing Jacksonville, you start them.
That's never worked for me though, by the way.
That's always worked for me.
Really?
Dude, I have killed people. Like who was the Texans running back before Arian Foster?
I don't know.
Troy Davis. I mean, it was some obscure guy. And I needed a pickup, so I picked him up. He was playing Jacksonville. I'm like, I don't have a chance. I'll put him in. Dude went off. Every time I have somebody playing Jacksonville, I put them in.
Well, I'm a true Jags fan. I just benched Aaron Rodgers for Trevor Lawrence. But that's because I got 2 mediocre fantasy quarterbacks.
My defense thanks you.
We'll see. You see the true Jag fan is here.
Hey,
Well,
Hey,
but
money
here's the deal.
supersedes pride, brother.
Here's the deal, and this is where it goes, where it's like I'm trying not to be the jaded Jags fan, because my experience has been, if I rely on a Jags player, they let me down. If I rely on the Jags ineptness, they let me down. So I hope that I am not jinxing our franchise by starting Trevor Lawrence. I cannot exist in a world that where I'm not a superstitious person. That my click on my phone for my fantasy team has no effect on our chances to.
That is not true, man. I've already told
That's
you,
just
dude.
how
You're
the
like
world works.
you're like that dude Mush. Man, you started Travis Etienne, 2 drop touchdowns. I'm
I
telling
started
you, man,
last week too.
it's a direct correlation. Yeah, but he didn't get
I
close.
don't have anybody to start my flex.
When they got close, they took Travis out and just threw the ball to Kurt.
Yeah. Well, it's a receiver versus a rookie running back. What are you gonna do? It makes sense, man. But he got looks. That's what I'm saying. That's what you hold on to when you have the first week of fantasy football and you are the worst team in the league. You know, you go. But if
Yeah,
he'd have caught,
if he would have just break one. I
Trevor
need
would
a
have connected, if he wouldn't have slammed the ball down on the field, spiked the ball before the end zone, I would have had a touchdown. So anyway.
All right, but that is us,
Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully we get this video out to you guys so that you guys can watch it. As always, please, we don't care if you like or subscribe. We'd like it, but we don't care. Drop us a comment. I care more about comments and just general Jag conversation than I do about likes and subscribes. They're nice to have, but the conversation's even better. So, all right, next week. All right. Oh, you didn't even join me.
Well,
I just
it
rolled.
was unexpected. We already gave 2 balls.
Well, they earned 2.
2 balls.
Let's hope they earn 2 this weekend.
All right.
All right. Bye, guys. Thanks.